You begin the game with 3 starting heroes at the beginning, and there will be 1 in 4th place and 1 in 5th place. Speaking about the colors, so we have 4 different colors in Artifact. It's red, green, blue, and black. Whereas red is the color which is supposed to have the strongest heroes but the weakest cards. We do have green, which is supposed to have average defensive heroes and average cards. We do have black, which is supposed to have average offense heroes and average cards. And we do have blue, which is supposed to have crap heroes but really good cards. Okay, so far so good. I know that many people like or love blue because of the effects being so amazing, also strong. If you watch other drafts or other people maybe talking about that, other streams maybe, or explanations. But I disagree, because I feel that having big hero stats is of uttermost importance in the game. I will go into that explanation into detail later. But the hero stats are, this is what your hero deals, and this is what you receive or what you can take before you die. And if you have strong heroes, you will get hero ganks, you will get creep ganks, your heroes won't die, and that's very good for you. Even if your heroes die, they come back, but they also come back with full health, like with full 11 health instead of full 5 health, for example. And that means the cards really need to make up for that, and I don't see that for blue. So how I see the classes, I talked about how it should be, but how I feel it is the following. Yeah, so red, what is supposed to have the strongest heroes but the weakest cards, in my opinion, the strongest heroes they definitely have, but their cards are not even that weak. So Bronze Legion has one of the best cards in the game, and it's common. We do have, I don't have at the moment in my collection. Maybe we should have opened the packs first. But there are some really good red cards. Red also has very, very bad cards. But here's the point. Yes, exactly. You don't need to play those infinitely bad cards. So for me, red is a class with strong heroes and also okay to good cards. Because you just play the good cards, and the good cards are really amazing. There are also some others. But the bad cards you just don't play. So that's that. There's green, I think that's what we explained. Average defensive heroes, average cards. There's black, what we explained. Average offensive heroes, average cards. Maybe a little bit better. And there's blue. And the heroes are really bad, and I have the feeling that the cards don't even make up for that. So there's Annihilation, but that's a rare card, so that really happens rarely. Well, because it's a rare card. Other cards might be overrated. For example, there's the Dimensional Portal. I know people are completely celebrating this. For me, just send this against the Dimensional Portal. But I think we are already going too much into detail here. But it's safe to say that that I rather like to have also more consistency. So I think if you draft blue, you lose consistency. Yeah, because it's like a hit or miss. Sometimes you really get this Annihilation, and that might be good. But yeah, if you don't, it's really bad for you. Whatever. So yeah, we are in the draft. And yeah, we were just talking about this blue hero and why I actually don't like him. If you would need to pick him now, we would already force or already commit ourselves to blue, which is a color I don't even like to play. And the second thing is he has weak stats, so we need to deploy him 4 or 5, like in the 4th or 5th slot. But we don't even know what kind of versatility we want there. So I would rather take solid, good cards. Okay, so we would rather like to pick solid, good cards. Home field advantage being better than Arm the Rebellion, usually because less or more versatile, less dependent on specific things happening. Alright, let's do that. So again, from the game plan, I believe in the strengths of heroes. So we have strong heroes, and that's the next point. There are also base heroes which you can fill if you don't hit on the heroes. And usually it's very difficult to hit on all 5 heroes. Usually we will have like 2-3 heroes you want to play, and you want to fill the rest with base heroes. But here's the thing. There are 4 different base heroes, as you could have already guessed. One is blue, 1 green, 1 black, and 1 red. And I feel that the red one nearly comes with no disadvantage at all, because his stats are 6, 1, 11. I might have... So here we go. So there are base heroes. Can I filter them here? Okay, so we do have base heroes, and well, I might start with the blue one first. So this is Jumui the Wise, and Jumui the Wise is a 3/8 hero. It's very bad stats. Every 4 turns he draws a card, and the card which he brings is not even that strong. It's Battlefield Control, and Battlefield Control is not very strong. I won't go into too much detail. There is the green base hero, and this guy has 4 attack, 1 armor to the sides, and 10 life. So you can say it's like a 5/10, because preventing 1 damage is like dealing 1 damage. Kind of. Simplified, right? Because if you have 1 armor, you will receive 1 less damage every turn. If you have 1 attack, you will deal 1 more damage every turn. And this is also how I would look at cards. So this card is dealing 4 damage plus the 1 armor, so it's dealing 5 damage every turn until it dies. Yeah, so 5 damage every turn until it dies. We already took a look at the blue hero. The blue hero deals 3 damage every turn until he dies, and he will also die faster. Now we have the black hero, and that's Debbie. I won't talk about the cards. The cards are all roughly average value. Debbie has 7, plus he will do more if he faces a hero or tower. That's good, because if you face a creep, you don't even need the additional attack, so let's make him a 9/5, which means Debbie deals a lot of damage, what we talked about earlier. Black heroes, or black, is generally very offense in stats, so he will deal 9 damage every turn, and after 5 life he dies. But keep in mind that 9/5 is better than 5/9, because 9 damage every turn, it's obvious, right? 9 damage every turn, you do it 1 time. Like if you do it 1 time, you already have this 4 heads differentiator. So obviously something which happens every turn is better than something which only keeps you from dying once. Okay. But obviously he will die very quickly, so he is not that good. And we have as the last hero, as a filler maybe, Kifi the Bold. And Kifi the Bold comes with a bad card, but it's not even, I mean, it's pretty bad. But doesn't matter, because you will probably have this card once per game or something. Maybe a little bit more, but not too much. But the stats are amazing. He deals 6 plus 1, I mean, he's armored, so let's make it 7. He deals 7 damage every turn. At least there's a 7 damage differentiator. He deals 6 damage, he takes 1 less, so that's 7. Every turn, and he dies after taking 11 damage. So that's really good. I don't complain to have this in my deck. And so that makes it much, much more... yeah, your deck just increases a lot in stability, because you're not that dependent on getting your like all your heroes, or you're not that depending on getting the 3 early heroes, because this is another thing. Early heroes, they spawn in 50%, like in half of the cases, roughly half of the cases. It's all rough numbers, yeah, roughly numbers, but they spawn roughly half of the cases against other heroes, and if they do, you want to have a good combat, which means you don't want to send a weak hero at the very beginning, because then in half of the cases you will just start with a very big disadvantage. Now next pick, and you can already see the dimension portal here, and we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about me not liking blue that much because of the heroes. The heroes are really weak, so I would really stick to this, because black gives more versatility, but not only that, but it's just, in my opinion, the stronger class per se, because you can fill it better with base heroes. So we pick these 2, and we have the next choice. Again, I just go with the better cards. The Skywars is okay. He's an okay hero, but again, he's blue. I don't want to commit myself that early. So let's pick this. We can pick this. We can also pick this. Relentless Zombie is a fine card. Cunning Plan is probably as good or as bad, whatever you call that. But I probably won't play the Murder Plot, so I pick a card, but I doubt that we'll go into blue. Probably the only occasion where I would shift into blue is if you get really a very strong sign, which would be an Annihilation or something. Like, Annihilation is the strongest card probably in the game, by far. So, but it's rare. So if you get this, fine. That might be enough reason for us to shift. So Divine Intervention, maybe the decoy is better, so we just take this, trebuchet this. We probably won't play them, but if we do, okay, Rix is probably worse than base hero. I will explain that later. So, but generally my plan is to somehow shift into black-red, into the black-red area. If it works, perfect. If it doesn't, I mean, there are still enough people picking blue. I mean, this is also another thing. Obviously, if nobody drafts blue, then it becomes very appealing to draft blue, because then you will get the packs from other people, which means if they also don't like blue and pick black-red, suddenly blue becomes amazing, because you will get all the good blue cards pass through, and then you can pick them all, and you can build a really strong deck. Yeah, but as it stands, I feel people overrate blue, so I'm very happy that they do, because then we can just stay with the strong colors, if you want to say so. Okay, so we get the Ogre Conscript. There is this Memeable Arms Master configuration also being really strong. So I mean, maybe we will end up blue, but it's very unlikely. Yeah. So okay, I definitely picked the Ogre Conscript. He's just strong enough to be picked. We already have one clear the deck being situational. So this is what I meant. Yeah. So this has diminishing returns. We might want to play one if you have 2 red heroes. The second one is already very borderline. Memeable Arms Master also synergizes with other heroes. There are heroes which increase, which for example give cleave, like dealing damage to the left and the right side, if they increase in attack. So this is specifically good with that. Otherwise, it's just average value. So you also have to think and build around synergies. What we also have here is a Horn of the Alpha, and that works very well with black cards, which create a lot of gold, mainly paydays. So now we would also need to check out in what kind of region we are at the moment of the draft. At the moment we are in pack 2 and at the start of the draft, which means we already have 1 gold mine. Maybe we might get enough gold producing things to justify the Horn of the Alpha. If we do, that would be great. Yeah? So maybe that might also be a potential pick. Configuration being also very strong though. Yeah, so we really need to think about this. Honestly, because we are already kind of black, I would also go for that, because honestly I don't see us switching to blue at the very moment. So it's either the Horn or this. I think the Horn gives us more options, yeah, because this also gives us the option to draft very heavily into gold game mechanics. Next pack. We do have double Ogre Conscript and Browser Legionnaires. All of those being amazing. And that was what I meant with red having very strong heroes, but also having very strong cards. I mean, this is one of the best cards in the game. Yeah, this is amazing. You play him against a creep, he survives, and he will farm a creep again, over and over again, if he faces creeps. That is because creeps have 2 attack and 4 health instead. So he is predestined to kill this 4 health with his 4 attack, but at the same time he doesn't receive damage. Armor is a mechanic which reduces the damage by the amount which is written there. Melee creeps deal 2 damage, but they actually deal 0 damage. So this will always survive, and maybe we'll be able to see him in action. I would also rate the Legionnaire higher than the Ogre Conscript, despite being different in stats, and this would be also something we might talk about very shortly. So Artifact is a game of exponential growth. What that means is, if you play something for 4 mana, it's quite stronger than for 3 mana or 2. If you play something for 5, I mean there are not that many 5 drops, so let's skip 5. But if you play something for 6 mana, it's way stronger than for 4 mana. If you play something for 7, it's even stronger. And for 8, it's completely powerhouse usually. And the reason for that is that Artifact games will end at some point. So usually they end at, for example, mana 9 or 10. So if you would have a card in Artifact which costs 9 mana, well, you better believe that this card will nearly win you the game, because otherwise you don't even need to put it in your deck, because if the game is over by 9, you don't even need to, you don't even have time to play that very, very big expensive card. So they actually went into the tank and said, hey, if there are cards which are extremely expensive, you will nearly never be able to play them. They also need to be extremely powerful, and you can already see that here. So I would rather take the Legionnaire, which I can deploy early, and I can use to farm a lot of creeps, over an Ogre Conscript, which is mighty, sure, but he will come late, much later. And I want to put the pressure. There's also one thing about Artifact, that you want to be in control of the game because of the initiative thing. I will go into detail later. But what it basically means, if you have the upper hand, your opponent is forced to play reactive. He needs to defend the lanes, and you can outplay him. So if you put the pressure up, and this is also why I love black and red so much. Yeah, and I also think that blue is, let's say, being played that much because not many people are playing black-red accordingly at the moment. But usually what you do is you build up a lot of tremendous pressure, and they can just not handle it. Which means, yes, they might have mighty AoE, which AoE is basically dealing a lot of damage to a lot of things. So their dream world is they wait for that AoE, and then they really wreck you with it. But what happens in reality is you pressure them so much that they need to play their AoE in a very bad spot. Their tower is at 12, they need to play their AoE, but it's not even good. And suddenly, they panic. And then that's where these guys are coming. And I will go into this roleplay later. The cards in action, the graphics, the animations are also really, really good. So, next pick. We do have the Estate Agent. He's good. 4 mana, 2/8. And you delay your opponent's plays by 1. Amazing with him is that you can play him into the lane where you think he is, for example, only a single colored hero. And if you have initiative, you play that first. He cannot play what he was supposed to play. And that's also one very important I know there's a lot of information. I will also say it over and over again at some other points because of the amount of information at the very moment. But usually how Artifact works is you also play your curve, which means once you're in a 3 mana slot, you play your low drops. And then you play your 4 drops, and you play your 5 drops, which means usually, let's say we go into turn 6, we usually, or he's usually now prepared to play his 6 drops. Because he couldn't play his 6 drops in the turns before, he now plans to play them in this very turn. And that's where the Tyler Estate Agent will come in, and he can suddenly not play the 6 mana play. But what that means is, he will be stuck with his 6 mana card in his hand, if you play him on the 1 colored lane. But he already wants to play the 7 mana spell next turn, which means the 6 mana spell won't see play that very turn, but it probably also won't see play in the very next turn. Yeah, so that's kind of it's very cool to have him. Yeah, very happy lad. And now we think about Hellbear Crippler, Assassin's Apprentice. They are I actually like the Hellbear Crippler even a little bit more. We can also go for Burning Oil. It's good. We can put it in some lane, and we can delay the lane because of that and all that stuff. So really don't mind. We can pick pretty much everything at the moment. We are not. It's not written in stone what we do. I mean, deck theme wise, and there is a payday, and this is what I was talking about. So now we can pick the payday. He will double our gold, and that might enable us the Horn of the Alpha. Horn of the Alpha is an equipment which summons a Thunderhide pack, and Thunderhide pack is a very, very powerful card. I mean, this is a Thunderhide pack, and what we will be able to do with the Horn of the Alpha, we will be able to summon one of these every 2 turns. And in draft, he usually won't be able to disrupt us that much. So that's cool. Second card. What's up? Did you get some good card? Was hab ich? Warte, ich checke. Hm? Ach so. Ach lol. Okay. I see. Okay. So. Different options. The question is, how much are we in green? Again, this is not qualifying as a hero. We can just strike him down. This Rix is a card which has a spell, this 5 mana silence the unit. That's pretty bad. His stats are completely bad. And he has Rapid Deployment, which means he comes back again once he dies. But if he dies, he also gives your opponent 5 gold. And you don't want that. He doesn't even kill a creep. And here you can already see, compared also with blue heroes, yeah, I mean, he does have blue hero stats, and that's what makes him bad, despite the Rapid Deployment. So we take this. This is probably not yet, because we don't know how much we are in green. We also only have these 2 green cards, so I would even opt into do this, trying to go black-red, trying to avoid this green thing. We will see about that. So let's do this. This is not a good hero. We pick this. We pick this. Below is not a good card. Yeah, just comparative with Slay. Slay is killing a creep. This is moving a creep. Okay. Oh my god, I really didn't want that hero. I mean, that's so we have Luna again. Yeah, people love her. I won't talk about blue anymore. So let's take the Ogre Conscript, and yeah, now we have different options. Selfish Cleric being the strongest card. If you say, hey, we want to play black-red, it would be like this. Keep in mind that we have nil good heroes. Nil. We're only playing base heroes at the very moment, and that's what I meant, yeah? So usually if I would say, hey, I have many drafts, so let's say we would be prepared to abandon that draft. Yeah, sure, I would maybe also experiment with the colors and all that stuff. But the thing is, you will go busto very often. You will just end up not getting no good heroes, and then you will need to stick in very bad heroes in your deck, and that sucks. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you would face stronger heroes. You can also already see, I mean, this mode at the very moment also enables you to redraft. We won't do that. Yeah, we will probably play until we at least lose 1. So this is something we always will do. And if you like the deck, we will also, of course, continue it always to the end. But what you can do is you can draft. I mean, if your deck is crappy, you can just abandon it. You can draft a new one. So maybe that might also see some change in the future. Again, with the ranking right, if you have a league system, maybe that's good, because then people actually will also be forced to play what they draft. Because otherwise, Sure. Yeah, it's not that much fun if people can just redraft all the time, right? Okay, because it only costs $1. Yeah, you can just redraft if you're not satisfied. Which makes it kind of a little bit, that's like a pay-to-win element, if you want to say so. Yeah, so those people who don't care about the dollaros, they can do that. Okay, so what do we want to do? There's a Selfish Cleric, there's an Unsupervised Artillery. We are absolutely not in green at the very moment. I would really go with this and just see how it goes. Trying to go black-red. Okay, so we got Burning Oils, we got a pick-off. Pick-off is good. It's okay, it's not insane, but it's okay. A second Burning Oil, I don't mind Burning Oil. Burning Oil is a good card. It's not amazing, but it's okay. So we picked what we picked. And now the next pack is extremely interesting, and this is what I meant with like adjusting the draft every time you do. Yeah, so strong cards. I mean, these are all kind of weak. Whatever. Yeah, they are all kind of weak. Here's the hero, and usually I wouldn't pick this hero because I think this hero is all right, but he's not good enough for a pick. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not saying that Debbie like not Debbie. I wouldn't say that the red base hero is better than Messi. I mean, Messi is better than the red base hero, but just by a little tiny bit. Not enough to justify a pick. But that changes if you have Burning Oil 2 times. So Burning Oil is a card which deals 2 damage whenever an enemy attacks your tower. Okay? So that means the more life your towers have, the more the Burning Oil will do. So maybe you can hold the line 4 more turns, 5 turns, and you will always damage his creeps. But that also means you need to kind of give up the lane, so that's a little bit weird. But what you can do with Messi is, Messi brings an improvement. And the improvement makes your tower less vulnerable, which means your tower will survive longer, which means the Burning Oil will burn him longer. So we pick this card because of this synergy. Yeah? So we do. About the time limits, there don't need to be time limits. Yeah. Because you just get the pack of the next player whenever he's finished. It's not like a closed 8 people draft, but it's rather like, if I understand it at the right, it's at the moment between all the players. So we wait for, so for example we have, I think maybe it works again now. So what we will have is, at the moment we are in pack 3 in the, nearly the last pick. And this is, so once we finish this pick, there's a new pack from another player who finished the 3rd pack, but 1 pick before somewhere in the memory. They were AI generated at some point, but I don't think that's the case any longer. There's another gold mine, and that will empower a little bit our horn. I would have liked to see the Bounty Hunter at some point, because the Bounty Hunter is a black hero, and what is so good about him is, I mean, usually he's not even that great, but if you have some very big items, we picked some very, very expensive item in the past, then we might be able to combine them off, getting this bounty, buying the horn, and parachakachuka, yeah? So that's very good. Keep in mind that he's better if you have 2 early black heroes, because you will get the track in your hand maybe, sometimes, but the track is only giving you gold if you kill a hero. That's a bounty basically. So the bounty means you put it on a hero, if this hero dies, you get the bounty. Yeah? He's a bounty hunter, a headhunter basically. And if you have, but you can play it with any black hero, so you don't need to play it with a bounty hunter. But you can also, let's say you have a Phantom Assassin, that would be ideal. Then you can also play the bounty, like the track, the card track with a Phantom Assassin. So it's only enough that you gank a hero at the beginning, and hero ganks at the beginning are the most likeliest. And the reason why they are the most likeliest is because you don't have items in round 1, and you have a 50% chance that heroes face each other. Another good thing about the Bounty Hunter is we still need the black hero. We already talked about this and this being unplayable. I would never play them. The base hero is better than this hero is. He comes with a card which is doing nearly nothing, and his stats are too weak to be played. So I would never consider playing these 2. Which means we can just ignore these 2, but that would also mean we don't have a black hero yet, but we have a lot of black cards. So I am really happy to see this black hero here. We also talked about wanting to having strong heroes at the beginning. That's one of them. He doesn't look like this, but this 3 armor is really playing. The earlier we deploy him, the more often he will be able to make use of his armor. So if you deploy him round 1, well, probably he will make use of this armor 4 or 5 times throughout the game, and that's amazing. So the later he comes in, the less value you will get out of this armor. So this is an early game hero, and that is an early game hero just because he has a lot of stats and because he will be able to cast track immediately. Keep in mind that the earlier you get the gold, the better it is for you. So this is our second early game hero. So now we only need 1, but we already talked about Kifi, the red base hero, being able to be deployed early, which means if we pick this now in the 4th pack, we will only get 1 more hero, but if we brick, like if we bust on that 1 hero, it's still okay because we already can fill our early game slots, and in my opinion, these early game slots are the very most important in the game. So, next card, what would we like to pick as well? So at the moment we are black-red, we are at the beginning of pack 4 and we can already count our playables. How it works is that every hero brings 3 signature cards with him. We will have 5 heroes, that makes 15 signature cards. We want that our deck will contain 40 cards later, which means we would like to have 25 cards besides that. And we can already kind of make up our mind what kind of cards we would like to have in our deck. So if I count, I only count the playables, right? I like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't count the signature cards, of course, yeah, because then I would count them twice. So 10 cards in red, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And we can already see that we will definitely be able to play black-red if we want that. So we are not required to add a color. We don't need to play green because we don't have enough black-red cards. We will have enough black-red cards. And that's important because this will also influence our draft, right? I mean, now these cards are all bad, so we might pick this regardless, but you get the point. Okay, I mean, actually, we could also pick the Frontline Mantle. At the moment, our items are not that good. And if we say, hey, we don't play green anyways, we can as well pick that. So, that is a strong pack, guys. The reason for that is, again, you don't know the card yet, but there's a Disciple of Nevermore. And while the Disciple of Nevermore might not look that appealing, he's actually not too bad, because what it means is if the lane is contested, he's okay, he's average. But if the lane is not contested, uncontested, if he says, hey, I'm just giving up this very lane, you can play him in this lane and he will deal 12 damage every turn, 14 damage every turn. So he's a good card. Not exactly sure whether he is as good as the Steam Can is, which is a card, 7 mana, deal 4 piercing damage to a unit in any lane. You can also see the rare symbol, but it's not a keeper draft. I wouldn't pick it anyways. 4 damage to a unit in any lane, which basically means if he can do that, whatever, 3 times, it deals 12 piercing damage. That's already pretty damn good. And we can do it over and over again, and also targeting and sniping off creeps, heroes, whatever we would like. So that's also very good. And because our deck, and now we can also take a little bit a look at the curve if you want to. So here's our mana curve. And what I explained earlier was that we want to play the curve, but because in comparison to other games, the curve is not linear, but it's exponential. It basically means we really would also like to have very expensive plays. Because if we skip those, it might just mean that we lose the game. I just explained it very quickly. So if you have a very strong early game, but the cards are of exponential value, it basically means he can play a card for 7 mana, which is very strong, and which will kill a lot of our board, or which will get him back into the game again. And we definitely don't want that. So if we just play our curve, but also make sure that we will also have late game, and you need late game. In comparison to other games, because other games you can just rush him down, because even a card for 7 mana is not good enough to hold that off. Not in this game. In this game, the cards are mighty enough to maybe be able to hold the heat. And we got a Blink Dagger if you want that. There would be one reason to maybe do it like this, which would be that we say, hey, we already have Horn of the Alpha. We probably already have enough late game because of that. But then again, I would also say that this accelerates the game, and we are actually very nice in late game if we pick this. 2 reasons. First of all, this is a late game card. I mean, sometimes it also comes early game. But in the essence, it basically tells us if we get it online and we survive 2 turns, we probably win the game anyways. So this is good also as a defense mechanism, because we can also pierce off something which we think is threatening us very heavily. And also any lane we would like to. So I would like to pick it like this. Blink Dagger, very important. So that's that's something you want to be able to alternate the lanes with your heroes, because again there are 3 lanes and you will lose the game if you lose 2 of your lanes, but that might mean it could be that you lose or win a lane, but you don't even want the hero any longer in that lane, and then you want to remove him. But here's the thing, there is a card which is called Town Portal. So the Town Portal portals your hero away and then he comes back, but the thing is he comes back 1 turn later, which means he's sitting out an entire full round of artifact. And that is the same as this hero dying, because if the hero dies, he's also sitting out 1 round. Obviously, if you have the Town Portal, he will come back 1 turn earlier. You could argue now, but it's not exactly, I mean, of course that's correct, but he also doesn't deal the damage the very turn where you portal him, while a hero which would die would deal his action the very turn. So Town Portaling is pretty much like letting your hero die. And that's not exactly ideal. Whereas a Blink Dagger doesn't come with a punishment. If you Blink Dagger from the left to right, you won't get punished for this TP, for this alternating switching of the lanes, and that's huge. That's really important. Specifically because it's our only tool, and the Town Portals, they come from the item shop. And the item shop is very random, which means, I mean very random, you get 1 of 6 items, which means if you're unlucky, you might not see 1 Town Portal at all, and then the hero will just stay there for the entirety of the game, and you might be very sad about that. So let's pick this. Again, we are black-red. We would have liked to see black and red cards. Unfortunately, we don't see any black or red cards. I just pick whatever. It really doesn't matter that much. They are all pretty much non-playables if you want. I mean, this playable if you want. Okay. So, Phantom Assassin. No. But there is a Sven. And we already said we are black-red. And Sven is a good red hero. But here's the thing. If we play it like this, I mean, we can already see 22 black cards. Maybe that are not all not playables. So we want to play, if we play black-red, we want to play 3-2 in hero-wise. We play 3 blacks, 2 reds, or 3 reds, 2 blacks. We talked about the Bounty Hunter wanting to be early. We talked about this wanting to be early. So if the Bounty Hunter is early, this is early. We have 1 slot for early game. Now that could be Sven. So we play Sven and this early, then Bounty Hunter, and then black and black will come back, or will come on 4 slot. If we want that. It's not bad, because we have a lot of black cards. So we could play this Bounty Hunter early, black, black. And the black heroes are also not that bad. I mean, the base heroes are also not that bad if they come later, because they only have 5 health and such. But I'm curious. Yeah, because obviously better would be a second early black hero, so that we can also deploy the bounties. That would be ideal. But honestly, because I also don't see other stuff you would like to play in this pack. I mean, this is amazing, that guy. But this is not that great. It's alright. It's a little bit of chip damage. I'm not even sure whether we need the chip damage, because we will definitely play 1 base hero. And the base hero comes with a card which deals chip damage. So why would we like to double up on that chip damage? Yes, exactly. So I would probably not even play that. And before I pick an empty pick, because that would be an empty pick, we might really seriously considering playing Sven. It's alright. I mean, the only drawback is maybe we don't get the payday, not the payday, but maybe we don't get the tracks off that well. That's the only drawback. Maybe it's worse, maybe it's not. Sven is a strong hero. I would probably keep that like this, because he's also blocking lanes, and we already talked about us wanting to block off. We can also block off a lot with this. We do have late game. This is the incarnation of late game. And now let's look at this. We have an incarnation of late game with the Horn of the Alpha. We have also late game here, which is kind of alternating the lanes, also giving us the flexibility with Horn of the Alpha and with the Blink Dagger to get the Horn of the Alpha anywhere we want. And we do have late game because of this team can. So I would say we are late game heavy. It's very rare that we will get busted because our opponent has more late game. And this will buy us time, because he cleaves away the creeps, and this will buy us time. So I wouldn't mind a distribution like this. Simply because we also didn't have a better pick. And this is the payday! Give me the gold! Give me the gold, guys! This is amazing. Yeah, so now we are talking. Because now we have the Bounty Hunter for gold generation. And we have a double payday to back that up. Into a lot of gold, into Horn of the Alpha. So that's really great. Also backed up by double gold mine. I don't mind at all. I'm actually happy. Could be anything. I don't think we will even play the clear the deck. Doesn't make sense. So whatever. We can also hate pick. That's like kind of a pick which will prevent them having that card. Yeah, that's only rubbish. There's nothing we want to have. Assassin's Veil is not that great. We already have our item slot. We only need to pick 3 items. I always like to play 3 mantles, 3 cloaks, 3 swords. So I would play a cloak over the Assassin's Veil. That's what I'm saying. So I guess it's fine. We could have had the broadsword. The broadsword with Sven. Yeah, we could have done that. Whatever, guys. It won't cost us much. It's really whatever. Because we already have the Blink Dagger, that's also a weapon. We don't want to have already... Because there is only 1 item slot or 1 weapon slot for every hero. So if you play the weapon beforehand, we cannot really deploy the Blink Dagger without busting the item which was deployed first. Right, so that's fine. Probably go like this. Whatever. Whatever. Okay, so we didn't get any good cards in the end, but whatever. It's really doesn't matter that much. We can save time here because we already kind of knew what we wanted to do. Yeah, we already talked about it before. We want to have these 2 red heroes. We want to fill that with this. Maybe Smash, maybe not. We can think about this. This, Ogre Conscript 3, that's sure. And then we go with black, and we already know what we are putting in. We're putting the black here, and we top it up with double Debbie. We also talked about this, so we don't need to think about it that much. Grazing shot, if you already have 6 times chip damage, is absolutely not the case. We said that we want to go late game, so maybe we would like... I mean, this is kind of aggressive, so we would maybe like to do it a little bit slower. I mean, we can still fill with the cards, but let's see whether we will get there anyways. So let's pick this, let's pick this, let's pick the Pick-Off and the Tyler and the Steam Can. So we are at 38 cards, and we need to play 40. I just filled the item deck very quickly so that we have a better overview. So we definitely play the Horn of the Alpha, we definitely play the Blink Dagger, and I think 1 Fernand Mantle cannot be too bad. Triple Sword, we talked about this, Triple Cloak, we talked about that, and we will also put in... That's already 9 items, and that is good enough for us. So... we could pick the Kimfolk Musket. Again, this would only be a good weapon if you have no chip damage. These are bringing... oh, I just wanted to show you the signature card. So Debbie is bringing the signature card No Accident, and this is qualified as chip damage. Honestly, 6 No Accidents are already way too much, so if I could have avoided, I would have liked not to play double base Black Hero. 1 is perfectly fine, 2 is a little bit too much. But what can you do? I mean, those are the cards we got, so we have to live with that. We already play all red cards, which means if you want to fill the other 2 remaining cards, we would need to fill with 2 cards. And I guess there's no help. Because we already have so tremendously amount of chip damage, I would really just go with the unsupervised artillery and the trebuchet. So now you see very neat 9 items perfectly distributed. We see 40 cards perfectly also calculated, double color, and we already know how we wanted to play it, so we didn't even need to waste that much time building the deck.